Now, this is somebody that I haven't talked to in a long time, but I've been friends with her and her family for, a few decades. And I just said that I'm pretty excited to share with you that I've started a new gig as a life insurance agent. Not as boring as it sounds. Trying to be a little. And then it said I'm still doing some event work as it comes up, but I really found something that fulfills my service-related personality. So it's been an amazing transition. And then I said I can help you and your kids with tax-free retirements, mortgage protection, or anything that you need along those lines, and would just love an opportunity to catch up with you in general because we haven't talked in so long.
Nice.
So just want to let you know that I was aware. But we're friends, so I don't have to be, I can kind of dial it down a little bit. And so, but yeah, I said either way, we should catch up soon. And then, so they all were kind of like that. And then I've got 3 responses, and one of them actually is going to talk to her husband about doing an IUL and their fireman. So,
Okay.
for the
And
kid.
I love the way you put that, Scott, is like, if you're talking to your friends, like you just talk like you would talk to your friends, right? You can be funny. You can just, hey, I want to catch up, but I want to let you know what I'm doing right now. Right. And you can use those, what do they call them? Not catchwords or catchphrases, but where, those triggered words like tax-free retirement, the company that we use insurance to help people get out of debt. Everybody knows that life insurance is for, okay, when I die, I can, my family gets some money, but like, what are those other things? I'm working with families to make sure that they have all the living benefits that life insurance can provide, such as, paying off cancer bills or, medical bills in the event of a critical illness, right? Things that most people don't know that life insurance does. That's what we all should be sharing with our family and friends, right? Like, I don't know who your life insurance agent is. I would love to catch up with you and maybe be of service to you, because a lot of people don't know that there's living benefits on life insurance policies these days that can pay for critical illnesses like cancer or heart attack, right? And maybe that triggers something in them with like, oh yeah, my sister had cancer here recently and blah, blah. And now you have an opening to have the conversation. But just in the first, sending out the text in the first place, that's where it starts. So appreciate you sharing that with us this morning, Scott. The one thing that I would say as you're reaching out, especially for that outreach to people that you already know, family and friends, I'm not approaching them saying, hey, would you like to buy some life insurance? I'm going to encourage everybody. Don't say it that way. All right. What you want to do is share what's going on in your life. Hey, I just want to let you know, started a new job, pretty amazing company. I'm in the financial services space. We do life insurance, retirement planning. I'm reaching out to my family and friends to make sure that, maybe you already have someone that's helping you out with that, but I'd love to, as a personal friend of yours, review maybe what you already have in place and see if I might be able to be of service to you, right? Something that simple, right? Where it's not saying I'm trying to sell you life insurance, because that's an immediate, no one wants to be sold. Everyone likes to buy.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to buy. All right. Think of the last time you went to the store. If you had the $1,000 in your pocket, what would you have been doing? You'd be like, oh, I want to get this. I'm going to get this. I'm going to get that. Right. So everybody wants to buy. No one wants to be sold. So when I'm approaching my family and friends, it's about how can I be of service to you? And then as I'm of service to you, then we may find ourselves in a buying situation for them. Because everybody, oh yeah, I already got it. I got it taken care of. That's fantastic. Anytime, like if I'm calling a lead and they say that, right, Doug? What do we say when they say, I already got it? Awesome. I'm so glad you already got it. Like that means that like 90% of my job is done now. All I want to be able to do is make sure that you have the best plan for what you're looking to do, and give you that secondary review. Because it's always good to look at things twice. Like something as important as your financial future is worth a second look, right? Exactly. You know what I'm saying? If it's my family and friends, I'm letting them know, hey, look, I'm sure you already got your insurance guy. You probably already got your retirement planning guy. And some of your family and friends will be like, no, I ain't got that guy. Oh, Oh, okay. Well, maybe we need to have a conversation and take a look at where you are and see if there's something that I can do for you. Or if they do have that guy's like, hey, I know you got your guy, and I'm sure he likes you. I'm family. I've been friends with you for 12 years. I would love to be able just to help me get better at what I do, just review what you have in place. And if it's great, I'll tell you exactly, man, you got the best thing. Hold on to it. If there are some other options or alternatives that you may want to take a look at, I can give you that information. That information, not sell you a policy. I can give you that information as well. You see where I'm going with this, guys? Like, I'm not trying to sell any of these people. I'm trying to find out, do they have a need? And once I find out that they have a need and I can show them some options that can solve that need, now I'm in a place where I can be in a buy-in situation. Too many, you guys are worried. And the reason that most of you are not reaching out to your warm market is because you don't, let's be honest with this. You don't want to sell your family and friends. Anybody? Is there anybody with me on that? I don't want to sell. I don't want to be the insurance pusher on my family and friends, right? But do I want to help my family and friends know that they have the right thing in place so that, God forbid, something happens, their family is going to be covered? And that I do want to do. Like, I don't want to be that person where I'm attending someone's funeral and like, I know this seems like a crazy scenario, guys, but like for me, my family and friends, colleagues, people who I would attend their funeral, they know I sell insurance. And I don't want to be the guy at someone's funeral and their spouse comes up to me and be like, he left me with nothing. If you would have just talked to him, I wouldn't be in the situation I'm in right now. Like, I dread, I fear that ever happening. And so that's why, social media wise, I post, hey, this is what I'm doing. If you need me, comment, like, share, DM me, right? I send out, just like you're doing, Scott, from time to time, I send out text messages to friends. Like, I have a friend of mine who's a doctor. He was my college roommate sophomore year and junior year in college. They just had their first daughter. Was it yesterday? Yesterday or the day before? He sent me the text, and I got the baby pictures and all that stuff. And of course, I sent back, congratulations, man, welcome to fatherhood, blah 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 blah. Hey, we need to pick up that conversation about the disability insurance we were talking about a year ago. Now, some of y'all may be like, you use that as the time to remind him that y'all talked about? Yes, I use that as a time to talk about that disability insurance. He's a doctor. He uses his hands. If something happens to his hands, do you think that income is going to keep coming in, or is it going to stop? He just had a daughter. What is he thinking about now that like before it was just him and his wife? They work, they travel, like they're just, living their life. Now it's serious, right? Now it's gotten to another level. So yes, I'm going to use that time to remind him that we've had this conversation before, and I didn't push it on him. We talked about it. He heard me out. He's like, yeah, that sounds good. Let's keep talking. I'm like, all right, let's set a time to talk. All right, we'll get, and it's just kind of been that we haven't locked down an appointment. Now I'm using that as an opportunity to say, let's sit down and talk about this. Right. And of course, we'll talk about the disability because that's what he actually approached me about that because he knew I'm in insurance. But do you think I'm probably going to mention life insurance to him, Candy? Do you think I'm probably going to mention to him, like, do we have anything on your wife? Because, hey, Yusuf, if something happens to her and then you have this little girl to raise by yourself and you're trying to be a doctor, you're probably going to need some help, right? Probably need to hire some people to help you out because you want to continue your career. So that's what that life insurance, like maybe you don't need the income replacement, but you need the help replacement, right? It's thinking about what this does. It's not what it is. It's what this does for the people that I'm talking to. Even with my clients, what is this going to do for you? Not what it is. What it is a piece of paper that says an insurance company gave you $100,000 in the event of this, or that. That's what it is. But what it does is relieve this stress, relieve this worry, make it so that you can just live your life and you're not worried about what would happen if you weren't here. Because that is something that's going on in the back of many people's minds. They live with that fear all the time, even if it's not on the front of their mind, because they know if, God forbid, if I was to lose my job or I was to pass away or I was to have an illness, my family's up the creek without a paddle. And that's what we can solve. That's what it does. Doug, you had a comment?
Yeah, you just brought it up. I was going to say exactly what it's not what it is what it does. That's all I talk about. I never talk about what it is, because what it is I'm selling. It's like if I'm what I and I had some family, some my on my wife's side, some of her family came over and helped us this week. We were cleaning out some buildings and doing some stuff that has to be done. I needed help, so I called them, to say, hey, I need your help. And we were talking, and they were younger, working. They're in their early stages of work. And I had a conversation. I said, hey, how are things going with your job? What does your company provide? I was just asking them questions. And I said, I don't know if this would help. I said, but if I didn't tell you guys about this, I said, you'll be mad at me one day. I said, so I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, some things that we need to have a conversation. And I just tell folks, we need to have a conversation. I said, it's not because I don't want you to use any of this stuff, but I sure as heck would rather have the conversation. You know what's available to you. And I said, I've got these things. I've got stuff like this. I said, I just wish someone would have shared this with me, 40 years ago. And maybe they did. I just wasn't mature enough to handle it at the time. So, and they're again planted the seeds and, sent out text yesterday, follow-ups, and they both are ready to go. So but like I said, it's never what it is, never sells anything. What it does sells everything.
Yeah.
And I know it's like, Jeremy Miner talks, we're not selling. No, we're not. Sales isn't, sales isn't a numbers game. Activity is a numbers game, right? So if I focus on the activity, I'm not selling. I'm just doing the movement. But yeah, we got to have conversations. And every time I was with a client yesterday, did not write a policy on them, but we had it was a great appointment. And I've learned with folks, sometimes folks do need time, So, what I did is I said, hey, guy, the husband was like, when you going? I said, I'm back here next week. I said, she said, do we have to make a decision today? No, you don't have to do any. I said, first of all, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to do this. I said, but let me explain what this does. So when you guys are thinking over the next 7 days, and I rebooked another appointment with them. So I've got another appointment with them, same time next week. So they got 7 days. I said, so I want this to be proactive for you guys, not telling you what to do, but I want you to really think about what this does. And it's what you're talking about, Edward. And that's every conversation I have. I always think about what things do.
Yeah.
Because what's funny is when you have those conversations, hey, Edward, just so you understand what this does, because I don't want you to ever use this, Edward, but I want you to understand how this works. So how, that benefits you and your family. This is why we're doing things, right? And when you have those conversations, I find that my clients start to talk. They start to open up. Rapport is 100% better. Rapport is very important. If I don't have rapport, we're not happening. So, and what it does helps build rapport, because what it does gets them talking and thinking about themselves. And it's like Jeremy Miner. I don't want to tell them why they need it. I want them to tell themselves why they need it. So when they say it, they're not telling me, they're telling themselves. And it's very important, because something happens in that dynamic. I will tell you, I'm going back to that house next week. They're going to make a decision. Because I told her, I said, what this does is I said, this isn't the end all be all, but what this does is I said, you guys got 4 grandkids living in your house. And I said, you have to have I'm not telling you what you need to do, but I said, you have to have this. I said, because if you don't, this is what this does. It does something either way. So if you don't have it, this is what it does. Yeah. If you do have it, this is what it does. So I'm telling you, you just drop the boulder, and I want everybody to catch it and think about when you're having your conversations. And I'm not telling you guys how to sell or anything. That's not how I work, but that's a big deal. When I learned it's not what it is, it's what it does. And when I started thinking about it, and I said, hey, you need to adopt this in your conversations. You need to really think about this when you're talking, when you're listening. And to me, I need to listen better than I talk. But when you talk about that, they'll open up, they'll start having conversations, and it changes the whole dynamic. But yeah, it's not what it is. because what it is selling. What it does is buying. So.
Yeah.
But I wanted to talk about, because as I hear you and Scott and Doug talking about reaching out to people, I wanted to comment about, like, that's the action. But as I sit here and think about the person that's on here and is in the mode of, I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I have it in me to reach out to somebody, because I start thinking about myself. And it reminded me of whenever I was younger, and I was working, because whenever we're younger, we're taught, and I don't know about you guys, but I was taught whenever we went to people's houses, don't ask for anything, right? You could be as thirsty or hungry, whatever you want, but you go to somebody's house where there's a family, don't ask for anything, right? And so inside, and this is I'll give credit to my therapist for this years ago, but inside, I had something ingrained in me that I shouldn't ask for what I want. Years and years of conditioning, not asking for what I want. And I think there's some people on here that are in the same way. And what I realized is, I remember I started working, I was 15 years old, and I started working for this successful, he was, I thought he was successful at the time, but he sold gold, and he had different offices and things like that. So I thought he was a billionaire. But one thing that I remember is, I remember watching him, and he always asked the customer to buy. He always asked for everything he wanted. He always asked for it. And I remember sitting there thinking, this guy's a bazillionaire. My parents didn't really grow up with much. They taught me not to ask for something. He asks for everything he wants, and he gets it. And I remember thinking, there's a shift. There's something wrong here. There's something wrong in the thinking of not asking for what you want. And from that point on, I remember thinking, you know what? Successful people ask for what they want. They reach out to their friends and ask for the appointment. They call and tell people, hey, it's time. Somebody says no, they say, no, you need to, right? And so I think that mentality, some of us have that ingrained in us of that. And I think it's important to realize that successful people ask for what they want.